Hello, YouTube. Okay, so if it isn't obvious, I'm a fan of the Peanuts, and honestly, I've been wanting to talk about one of their specials for a long time now. So, what's the better one to start off with? My personal favorite out of all of them. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Let's get into it. So for the story of this one, it actually bounces around quite a bit between characters, but I'm just going to talk about the three main story arcs there are. So, the very first one is for Linus, and his is pretty much, he waits in Pumpkin Patch every single year for the Great Pumpkin. It's pretty much just a more picky version of Santa Claus. Like, he makes sure that you have a new pumpkin patch ready for him every year, and if you say might about him even once, he will not come and visit you that year, even though you've done literally everything he wanted you to do, and have been freezing your butt off in a pumpkin patch all night. Apparently, if you just say might about him, then that means that you're pretty much never gonna be visited by him ever. Why does Linus wait in a pumpkin patch for this guy? But anyway, I guess he really respects that judgmental a-hole, so he waits in the pumpkin patch, and this time he gets Sally in on it, who, even though she has a very big crush on him, says that if he tries to hold her hand, she'll hit him. I never understood that, but anyway, she waits in the pumpkin patch instead of trick-or-treating for her very first year. Seriously, Sally, you're like 4. Have you never gone trick-or-treating until then? Like, seriously, like when you're 5 is when you decide to go trick-or-treating? I went trick-or-treating my very first October. What's with you? So, yeah, she decided to just stay at the pumpkin patch instead of go trick-or-treating, because, I don't know, she's an idiot. So, yeah, after a while she gets pretty annoyed that there's no Great Pumpkin. But then something amazing happens. A figure starts to rise out of the pumpkin patch, and it's Snoopy. Ruined that for ya. I'm sure that you never saw this special in the 50 years that it's been on. So, yeah. After seeing that with Snoopy who rose out of the pumpkin patch, she decides it's time for her to leave. After lashing out at Linus for telling her that this would work. So, yeah, then Linus just stays there for the rest of the night until his sister comes by and gets him. Yeah, does she do this every year? Like, does every year her alarm is set for this certain time to go pick him up to see if he's still there? Like, does she do this yearly? So, yeah, that's pretty much it on his story arc. And then we have Charlie Brown's, which his story arc is amazing. Pretty much, he goes trick-or-treating and goes to a Halloween party. Incredible! So, yeah, for his trick-or-treating experience, people just give him rocks. Which really I've always wondered about, like, does every year someone goes out into their yard, like all the adults go out into their yard and pick up a rock, clean it off, and then put it into their candy bowl, just waiting for Charlie Brown to show up? I really want to know, do they do that yearly? Do they make sure to do that every time Charlie Brown's coming near their house? Like, okay, he's coming near our house, guys, go get that rock! Like, seriously, who goes out and gets rocks just to give random children? But, yeah, that's his whole experience for Halloween. And then he goes out to a Halloween party. At least he got invited to one. So, yeah, I've honestly never been to a Halloween party outside of... Okay, well, I've been to one, but with just people standing in a room listening to music. At least this one they bought for apples. So, yeah, Charlie gets invited to this Halloween party for one reason. So that he can be the model for their pumpkin carving. Why does everyone hate Charlie Brown? Like, do they hate him that much that they just decided, well, I think that the best course of options here is to really humiliate this kid by just drawing on the back of his head. And also, we never see him erase that, so he probably still has that on the back of his head. And, like, seriously, did they just invite him just to do that? Just, like, let's only invite him so that we can draw on his head? Like, that is such a rude reason to invite him. But apparently that was a good idea to them. I don't know why. And then that's pretty much it. They just invited him to get his head drawn on. That's really rude. So then the final story arc is with Snoopy, who is a World War I flying ace. And apparently this is a very unusual costume. I guess it's kind of weird, but I don't know. I guess people could be a World War I flying ace if they want to. So he goes out and fights off the Red Baron and somehow actually gets his doghouse shot into. How did that work exactly? I really want to know. How was his doghouse actually shot into? And who was playing the Red Baron to shoot his doghouse? Was it that cat they hated from next door? Like, who was shooting at the doghouse? Was it Woodstock? Did someone give Woodstock a gun? I want to know, who shot that doghouse? Or was that just his active imagination? Or was he just LARPing with some friends? And those were just paintballs or something? I mean, I'd still be wondering where animals would get paintballs, but at least that would explain something. So now that his doghouse / airplane has been shot down, he's gotta go through enemy lines to get back to his home. Which leads him to the Halloween party, where he just bobs for apples for a little bit and listens to music, then leaves. What good interruption to that whole behind enemy lines thing. And then he goes into a pumpkin patch, rises up for a little bit, and that's it. Yeah, that's really it. We never see what else he does. Just, he rises out of the pumpkin patch, and that's it. What do you know? Okay, so honestly, what really makes the special work to me is how simple it is. Actually, this is kind of what makes all the Charlie Brown specials work, is how simple they are. Each and every single one of them is simple in its own way, but that's what really makes them work. Just because they're that simple means that they're able to incorporate so many things about the holiday into that special that it just feels so genuine. Everything about it just feels so much like the holiday that you just end up loving it. That's the reason why we watch this every 50, like, this has honestly been on for 50 years, and people are still watching it to this day. Mainly because it embraces the holiday, it embraces what type of season it is. Every single one of the Charlie Brown specials does this, and that's what really makes them work. Just them embracing what holiday it is, and just really having fun with it. That's what really makes them work. So for the story, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because, while yes, it does very much embrace the holiday, it is still very, very basic. So, yeah, honestly, I do really love it, and that might just be my nostalgia clouding my judgment on this, but still, it is very good, and I do like how much it embraces the holiday. So, on to the characters. So, for the characters, there's honestly not that much to say about them. They are pretty basic. So, the first one is Charlie Brown. He's actually a really nice kid, but for some odd reason everyone hates him. I really don't get that. Like, why does everyone hate him? Also, if Lucy really doesn't like him that much, why did she go trick-or-treating with him? I really don't get that. But apparently she understood her reason, so I guess that's enough. But yeah, he's honestly just a really nice character, but for some odd reason everyone hates him. I never understood that. But yeah, that's pretty much just his main character, and he's fine. Like, for his very, very basic character, he's still a very strong one. Like, he's still remembered to this day. We all know his color palette and everything. Whenever we see just a yellow thing with that line across it, we know exactly who it belongs to. He's become so iconic. So, yeah, he's a good character for what he is. I just don't get why everyone hates him. Like, seriously, why does everyone in his universe hate him? Like, I never understood that. But, then we have Linus, who's the only character who actually doesn't hate Charlie Brown. I really don't... At least he has a friend? I guess that's something. So, Linus in this is pretty much just that character who obsesses over an icon on Halloween. And honestly, even though that kinda isn't the character that I've gotten to know with Linus, I do still really like him. Here, he is pretty good. You really do see how much he cares about this one thing that he engulfs himself in every year. And honestly, he's pretty likable in it. So then we have Sally, who I don't mind either. She, for a little kid type of character, she is actually very likable. So, yeah, that's something with her. Now, the main problem I've always had with her is that she seems a little bit too young to be saying, like, most of the things that she says. At least with, like, Charlie Brown or Linus or Lucy, at least they're a reasonable age to know about this stuff. Sally is, like, I don't know, 6? Why does she know about half of the stuff that she knows about? Like, does she get that from her brother? Does she even know what she's talking about? But yeah, she is still pretty likable and fun. So then we have Lucy. She is alright. Like, her character has never really changed. Her character is pretty much that very loud person who wants everything to go her way. And with that, she's alright. There's no real problem with her. Her character has remained the way that she is for a reason. It's because the way that she's usually done very well. So, yeah. I don't have a problem with her either. Now, really, I don't have a problem with any of these characters, actually. I just grew up knowing these characters so much that, yeah, I might need to have my nostalgia glasses on. There, you can see that nostalgia written on there. Or you can't, I don't know. So, yeah, then the very last one is by far my favorite Peanuts character, and a favorite for a lot of Peanuts fans. It's Snoopy, but something interesting that I noticed while trying to actually analyze his character, I can't. Just like the Blues Brothers, there's just something about him that really works. But I honestly have no idea what it is. He's filled up with so much character and so much personality, I don't know what exactly personality he has. Is he the cool character? No, he's still pretty awkward at times. Is he a geeky character? No, they never really fully emphasized that. I don't know exactly what character he has, but he's still very likable. So, yeah, honestly, I really do love Snoopy. I just can't hit the exact point as to the reason why I love him so much. He's just a great character. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, I know, I gotta talk about the most important character of all. Violet. Clearly, she is an important character. She is rude, that is all. Truly, she's amazing. And so, yeah, for the characters, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. They're alright, like, they're very, very basic, but that's kind of what makes them work. Just like the special, that's what makes them work. All the simplicity put into them gives open area for just their natural characters to stay alive. Just like their normal character, their normal type of characters, that's just what makes them so strong. That's what makes them likable. They're just plain characters, but that's something that you can work with in so many different ways. And this special is a great example of that. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10. Let's get on to the animation. So for the animation, it's pretty bad. So yeah, what are the good aspects of it? Well, it's very stylized, and since it's so simplistic, actually they don't really take advantage of the fact that it's simplistic. They do still stick to the very normal way of animating, even though it's simplistic as it is. So yeah, they don't really take advantage of the fact that it's so simple. It pretty much is just very iconic for the way it is. Now, a lot of things can be done with this style of animation, and I have seen it actually been done really well. Like, I've seen Peanuts cartoons that have actually been really well animated, and yeah, this just isn't one of them. This was one of their very first. In fact, I think it was their second special that they ever did with the Peanuts, and that shows. You can tell that they were just getting started on working on animation, and honestly, it really doesn't look that great. Like, it looks fine, I guess. Like, you can still tell what's going on and everything. It's not too awfully animated, and I mean, like, it's nothing like Reboot or anything like that, but and the lip syncing does at least match, but yeah, it's honestly not the best. Honestly, I think it could have been done with a bit better looking animation. Like, honestly, it looks fine. Like, you can still tell what's going on and everything, but honestly, the animation is very low quality, and that's mainly the biggest problem with it. And that's also probably the biggest problem with the special, is that the animation is very simplistic, which in some areas can work, and yeah, it's become very iconic for the Peanuts, but yeah, to me, it's always kind of been one of those big issues with it. So, for the animation, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 10. It's honestly the worst part of the special, but that's not to say it's awful, and it is very iconic for what it is. It's just, yeah, just actually analyzing it and not just talking about it for fun or just watching it for fun. Yeah, honestly, you notice a lot of the flaws with it. So, yeah, 3 out of 10. So what I think about this special overall? It's really good. It very much holds up with its story, mainly because it engulfs itself in the holidays so much that it's still very relevant. Pretty much the holiday has not changed, and neither has the timelessness of the special. It doesn't make any pop culture references of the time or anything like that. That's what mainly makes it hold up so well. Because it just embraces the holiday, that's what it does, and that's what makes it work. the characters, while very simple, they honestly work really well too, because there are so many other places that you've seen these characters that you get to know them so well, and you get so used to seeing them that pretty much they just really work well in anything that they're in. So yeah, this is honestly one of the very first ones of the Peanuts I ever saw, and this is pretty much the one that I always turn to with them, because honestly, this is just where their characters shine out so much. Except for Linus, he's kind of the only one that's a different character in this one. Like, honestly, he only talks about the Great Pumpkin and 2 other things, one of those being in a Peanuts, like, there was a Peanuts TV show at one point, and he was in one, and there was one Halloween episode, so of course he was out in the pumpkin patch again, and there was an election one for the Peanuts for some reason, where he talked about the Great Pumpkin in the end, and that's honestly the only other moment it's been brought up. So yeah, but he's honestly the only one who's kind of out of character in this, and even at that, you can still see aspects of his character still shining through. So this is honestly a really good one to look at, just for how great you can see these characters, and some of these are the most iconic bits with the Peanuts, like the Red Barons, like the Red Baron scenes. Those I always enjoy, and so yeah, honestly, it's pretty good. The only major problem with it is the animation, which can be overlooked if you're just having fun with the special, which in the 50 years that I've seen this is the only year that I've actually tried to analyze this, so yeah, this is honestly the only year that I actually had to point out the flaws with something that I really do love. So for this special, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's still really good as just a special for Halloween. So frankly, there's a reason that we always turn back to this one, even after 50 years. It's because it's just so strong and holds up so well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, I really do enjoy this special, and yeah, there's a reason why I have all this stuff behind me. It's because I really do love the Peanuts, and yeah, I just think that they're always just something that I'm just gonna watch every single year. It's pretty much a tradition for me and for many other people. There's a reason for that. They just hold up so well. So yeah, 7 out of 10. And next week, we'll be looking at the original Amityville Horror. That will be fun. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.